Hi. Just be consistent is what we're going to talk about in this chapter. Now, this might not be something that was ingrained in you as a child. It might not even be something that you like, honestly. But just being consistent, developing a consistency or a faithfulness in the character of who you are, I'm telling you, it's worth gold. I mean, in your walk with God, in the things that He's calling and asking you to do, with your family, with what you put your hand to, with your job, consistency and faithfulness should be a core of who we are, a core of who we are. And this one is a funny one for me because I share a story with you that I'm not like overly proud about, but it's the truth. So I'm sharing the truth with you on a whole nother level. Now we live in a cul-de-sac. In our neighborhood. We're actually the first cul-de-sac right when you pull up. And for those of you who don't know, a cul-de-sac is just like a little circle area with like 5 or 6 homes around that's attached to the main road. Now let me bring you back to the day. I've always wanted to be a runner. I don't have like a runner's physique. I wouldn't say naturally. And so I'm sort of klutzy. I'm not like willowy and like super fast or anything. I'm a slower runner, and that's okay. But after I had my first child, I just knew I needed to get in shape. And I was in like Michigan in a small town. We didn't really have like gyms around us, nothing like that. Neither could we afford a gym. So I decided I would take up running because it was cheap. Now, I also started reading some Joel Osteen during that time. And if any of you have read anything from him, he's very encouraging. And so as I was reading those stories, from him in his book, I would start telling myself like, you're a natural born runner. I was like, I might as well just try and believe it. And so every time I would go out to run, I would run like 0.3 miles. It was really bad. But I would be so tired after that 0.3 miles. And I'd still tell myself, I'm a natural born runner. And I would even tell my husband, I'm like, babe, I'm a natural born runner. And as much as I told myself that, I never actually became a natural born runner. I wasn't. I hated it. I didn't like it. It didn't matter what kind of cute clothes I wore, nothing. I didn't like it. So fast forward to my 4th child, and I found myself in my same predicament. After 4 children, 4 girls, giving birth here in Colorado, I knew I needed to get back into shape. And so I started running around my cul-de-sac. Because, okay, there's a reason. Because my daughter was little. She was like, when I started running, she was like 1.5. And when she was nap, I would go for runs. And then, she was like 2.5. And she'd like watch a TV show, and I'd run around the cul-de-sac and just leave the front window wide open, door unlocked. And if she needed me, she could call for me. So I started running, and then I started praying and running. And I would start out by running like a mile. A mile was 13 times around my cul-de-sac. And let me tell you, it was tough. I thought I was going to pass out. So after running that consistently, I started running, 2 miles. And after 2 miles consistently, I decided every other week I would add one time when I ran on Fridays, I would add one more mile to my running journey. And yes, the neighbors, they had questions at first. Why is she running around the cul-de-sac? But, in the end, it was a good thing. And they loved that. I think they loved that I run around the cul-de-sac. So started running around the cul-de-sac and started praying and started listening to my Bible during that time. And what used to be just a time that I did not look forward to at all, that I actually dreaded, turned into a time that I looked forward to every week. And it turned into something that was so life-giving to me. But the factor that changed it all, I would say, would be consistency. And some of you might be asking, I hope you read this chapter already, but some of you may be asking, how many times have you run? The most I've ever ran around my cul-de-sac is 150 times. I've done almost 15 miles in that cul-de-sac. And I actually went on to run a marathon with my husband a couple years ago, first one we've ever run. And running has turned into something that I love. So now when I say I'm a natural born runner, I actually feel like I am a runner because I love it so much. But here's the truth of this. When my desperation exceeded my comfort, like my level, and my desperation for something that God wanted to do in my life in this area, when it exceeded my want for comfort, change happened and miracles happened on my journey. And how many things, though, have we started and stopped like I did with running? How many things have been in our life like that if we just allowed God to help us be consistent in our running, be consistent in our time with Him, be consistent in our walk? How many times, if we were just consistent, will we have seen God do miracles in our life? Because let me tell you, desire is birthed in consistency. You might not want to do it right now. You might not think it's a great idea, but as you're consistent and you know this is what God is asking you to do, the desire will come. The desire will come, but it's only as you are consistent in that thing that the desire comes. So let me ask you something today. I know my story is silly, but it holds such a special, true, real principle for our lives today. What in your life have you started and stopped and started and stopped and started and stopped that God is asking you, baby, I just want you to be consistent. I just want you to be consistent. And how can you develop that consistency in your life today?